it's not a terrible thing that you have an ego. Everybody's proud of their business. But if you want to grow, you've got to let go. You've got to get out of the way and let your people and your teams be able to scale that business more rapidly, because you'll be limiting the business if you just feel like you have to be involved in every aspect.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. What if you could have all the proven systems of a successful franchise without surrendering ownership, control, or paying franchise fees? Today, we're exploring the framework that's liberating small business owners with Jeff Bevis, the Next Level Navigator, who spent 34 years building 7 record-setting franchise brands across multiple industries and countries. He realized that regardless of the type or size of the business, it was the systems behind it that created sustainability and success. And today he specializes in providing small business owners those same proven franchise systems without the franchise commitment.
Jeff, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Thank you for having me, Michael. Thanks, Tanya.
You bet.
Yeah, this is going to be a great conversation.
I do have to say this real quick too. I did not mention this in the intro, but Jeff is also a client of ours, and we are so happy to have had a hand in helping him pull this together. Obviously, not all that humongous success he had before he got here, but helping him better portray how he serves those that he serves. So, all right, Michael, take it away.
Yes, very important, and it's going to be a great conversation because of that. That's actually where I was going. So it's perfect. Let's talk about your background first, Jeff, because it is quite a background. I have one specific question because I'm in the real estate space. Your parents were RE/MAX franchises,
yes.
Franchisees, I guess is the way to say that, right?
Right.
Which is really interesting to me. Is that where your interest in franchising began?
It's kind of a convoluted answer there, Michael, because of course I knew they were franchisees, but I didn't really think about it until about 10 to 15 years ago, when I kind of realized that maybe franchising was almost in my DNA, one way or another.
Makes total sense.
It sure does.
So what did you start your career in the franchise world? Like when you came out of school, you was like, hey, I want to deal with franchises. Like what led you to even be in that space?
Yeah, it was really almost by accident. I had been recruited to a role as a regional vice president of a brand expertise standpoint, but within the first 90 days was given responsibility for working with local franchisees, and I just loved it. And really, from that point forward, as I learned more about the franchising world, just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, I bet. Now, was there a specific moment or event that kind of opened your eyes and caused you to say, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in? Because I want you to talk just a little bit about, I know that that you're not usually the kind of guy who touts your accomplishments, but I'm going to ask you, okay, because you built over 7 franchise brands and even some country-wide brands, right?
Right.
Building brands for an entire country, which is your master franchise certification, correct? Tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you go from just being a regular franchise operator in the industry to becoming somebody who sets up franchises for entire countries?
Sure. Well, it really is fun. It sounds very daunting, and it does have a lot of moving parts, but building a solid brand offering here in the U.S. really becomes a launching pad to take that brand, that concept to any other country, as long as the demographics or business environment fits. So master franchising is really where you're finding the perfect match of a business or a partner in a respective country to replicate your brand. And it has a high growth opportunity as well. But it's all about making the right match, finding the right partner. So as I've built brands across the U.S. Historically, it's also been a great opportunity in building master franchises in other countries in multiple brands too.
So in your background, have you have you worked with, okay, so I'm a business owner and I build widgets but I'm still small, and my widget hand making widgets are doing good and stuff like that. And then they call Jeff, and Jeff, hey, I think a lot of other people can sell my widgets. Like, have you dealt with that kind of ground level and then taking them into those things? Are you more like, okay, you've got 2 locations already, let's talk about building this into a franchise? Like, can you give the listeners an idea, like what starts you down that road?
Sure. Yeah, I've actually done both those scenarios, Michael, where people have a business, a corporate location, maybe 2 corporate locations, and they decide they want to franchise that or see if it's franchise viable. And I've helped them create the entire model in a franchise structure and then scale it rapidly. In addition, I've also helped independent, so non-franchise business owners join franchise systems because they decided that I've taken and helped independent businesses, not just franchisees.
I got you. Okay. And do you think that in your experience, would you say that you've seen small companies do even better after the franchise like implementation starts? Or do you think that franchising is taking something that is already successful in and of itself, and now let's just duplicate it?
Yeah, it's actually both. I have seen brands that do very well in 1 or 2 locations and then just have the right infrastructure built to be able to scale them rapidly as a franchise. But then I've also seen the impact of let's call it a mediocre or average business, not doing badly, but not doing great, but then become part of a franchise that really, really takes off.
And what do you think is the key ingredient to both of those scenarios?
I think it starts with just a great system and then an understanding of the path to really follow. In many ways, franchising, of course, is being your own boss, and you're an entrepreneur as a franchise owner. It's not, where you're not a corporate employee of the franchisor. But I think the key is understanding that path and following a system, and then certainly believing in that system.
Yeah. And now a lot of people know, most people in the business world know that franchises are world renowned for their systems, right? But what other positives come from operating like a franchise?
Well, you have quite a few other advantages, Tanya, including the exit strategy of building a business that is very systematic, process-oriented, has scaled rapidly. You can typically exit for a higher multiple. There's a higher return there. But in addition, it's a matter of taking a lot of those franchise lessons, whether it be providing great customer service or great operational logistics or the building blocks. It could be any part of the business itself. You can take that to an independent business and be able to succeed much, much better at a higher rate, or grow it faster.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
Oh yeah. And so, I have the advantage of knowing a little bit coming into this about you and how you operate. We both do, but we talked a lot about the fact that small business owners who want to keep that autonomy, one of the main things that they're really struggling with is they're still working so much in the business, that 60 to 70 hour work week, and they don't have the knowledge that you would have, for instance, of how to put their own systems together and things like that. What is the most common root cause of business owners ending up in that situation, do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's ego. And it's really, and you've heard me say this before, Tanya, but in order to grow, you have to let go. And so many owners in their own way And it's not a terrible thing that you have an ego. Everybody's proud of their business, but if you want to grow, you've got to let go. You've got to get out of the way and let your people and your teams be able to scale that business more rapidly, because you'll be limiting the business if you just feel like you have to be involved in every aspect.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Like, we talk about that a whole lot, and we deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, and we see it a lot. Like, very successful entrepreneurs, but they can't. Some of them don't even dream about taking another step because they're going to lose control. And some of them keep getting caught in the same washing machine. They want to grow, but then finding the trustworthy people to help you with those growth systems is very, very hard in the world. And so I hope that I just spoke to listeners that need the expertise of Jeff Bevis, because he's been through it and he knows. And that's the key, right? It's not just somebody that says, oh, I can help you build systems that'll help you scale. I mean, we see that constantly, like it's everywhere. But Jeff's got the goods, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, he knows what it takes to make this thing done. Jeff, do you find that service-based industries are franchisable just as easy as like a product-based business, or is one more conducive than the other, or is it literally like it's the system?
It's literally the system, Michael. That's exactly right. And if you think about hotels or franchises and convenience stores and many service businesses, of course, restaurants. And that's kind of the misnomer in the franchising world, is the consumer oftentimes just thinks that of a restaurant or a hotel. The reality is there are really franchises almost every aspect of branding, whether it's product or service. So I think it's the system, and it can work either for product or service.
Yeah. And I know you created something called the Bevis Blueprint, that whereby you work with small business owners to help them get those franchise systems without the franchise commitment. Tell us a little bit about your blueprint.
Sure. Yeah, it's totally based on experience, Tanya. So it's truly a been there, done that type of a framework, but it's going in and looking under the hood and taking a deep dive into the business, whether it's a product business, a service business, bricks and mortar, or even a virtual business, and be able to guide them through the pitfalls and avoid the pitfalls, and guide them through the plan that would help them fill the gaps, make their business stronger, and be able to position it for future growth or whatever direction they want to take the business.
I love the concept. And the very first time that we got on the phone together, I thought, this is incredible. Now, independent small business owners who just don't, for whatever reason, they don't want the commitment, they don't want the fees, they don't want, they just want their autonomy. And now they can have the best of both. Best of both with Bevis. How about that?
I love it.
I love that.
Well, it's so poignant, because like, I'm in the real estate space. I have a independent boutique brokerage north of Atlanta, and didn't even think I'd have that. I have talked to every franchise known to man about real estate. I've never committed to one, and for my own reasons, but most of the reasons have been, I just don't know what they can offer me that I don't already have. And it seems like I got to pay on top of that. And so It's just like, I just can't make that commitment. But other people have made that commitment and seen massive success. And so I'm not here to advocate for or against, to each his own. But I think that what I want the listeners to know from Jeff is that either way, you better have a good system, right? Either way. That's right. You need you need the Bevis blueprint, right? Either way, you need to have this somebody professional look at your systems to make sure that you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and we're going to come back at the end, Jeff, and have people and let you tell people how they can reach out to you, because I know there's probably quite a few out there listening thinking, I can get all that and I don't have to commit to a franchise. This is incredible. So, but I want to talk just for a moment about your branding journey with us. We were very fortunate, blessed to be able to work with you. And so the first question we have is, why did you come into the BrandFace program?
Well, I had done a lot of research and looked at different companies, different offerings, because I felt like as much as I am good at building brands, that I wasn't very good at building my own brand. And so some of your information that you originally or initially shared, Tanya, you and your team, really opened my eyes to, gosh, why haven't I applied so much of this brand knowledge to my own personal branding? And so I think first it was just the expertise and the information being so understandable that really drew me to working with you and your team.
Well, we're so glad you did.
Very glad.
It's hard to see the label when you're the one inside the jar, right? It's always that way. So,
well, Jeff, what would you say was the most eye-opening about going through the program?
It was truly probably the second or third call, Michael, and understanding kind of the template that, or system, I guess, that Tanya and you all follow. Because it just seemed so natural and so kind of developmental, just step after step after step. And I felt like not only did it make sense, but that it was going to be something that I could implement fairly quickly and easily too.
Yeah, I love that. You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
The systems man.
Bragging about the system. I like it. I like it. I'll take the stamp of
Exactly.
approval. But I really too like what you said, because getting started is everything. Like people we need to move, right? And so we have worked very hard to make sure that our system gets people moving very quickly towards making money with what they're trying to accomplish. It's not a drawn out system that you have to wait for return on. And that's so thank you. I'm glad that is the case, because it's very important to us.
It's nice to hear from the next level navigator, right?
Yes.
So how has your brand already helped you, Jeff?
Well, it's already made a difference for me. Just as an example, on LinkedIn, the number of impressions, the traffic, number of inquiries has already, more than tripled, I'd say, just in these last 2 or 3 weeks since you all have finished working with me from the branding positioning standpoint.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's excellent.
That is fantastic. I love to hear that. And we worked with you to kind of put the right things on your LinkedIn profile to really help people very clearly understand exactly who you serve and how you serve them and how it changes their lives. So glad to hear that's already working.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's been great. Yeah, I think it can only go up. It can only get better and better. And the feedback I've received already has been so positive.
Excellent. Excellent.
Wonderful. What would you say to anybody else that are considering becoming a BrandFace?
I would give them a couple of words of advice that they definitely should consider working with BrandFace. Not only the process, the system is just so natural and so easy to follow, and very affordable. And I really mean that. There were several offerings that I looked at that were double, triple what the pricing structure was with you all, Tanya and Michael, and there were several that were a lot less. But I feel like that the ROI for working with BrandFace was off the charts.
That warms my heart.
Yeah,
I love to hear that.
Very important to us.
Yeah.
Very important to us.
Because it is important to us to be affordable. We definitely don't want to be the cheapest, right? But we want to be accessible, and we want to be doable, right? And that means a lot to us. The more lives that we can impact that way. Well, let's come back here to the end where we can share with people how they can learn more. Jeff, go ahead and tell them.
So the best way to reach me would be either through LinkedIn, to my LinkedIn profile with Jeff Bevis, or to contact me direct. Go to my website at renaissancefranchising.com. And that's not to be confused with only handling franchisees. Just starts with that franchise system, as you pointed out, Tanya. So renaissancefranchising.com is my website, or they can certainly email me there at jeffbevis@renaissancefranchising.com as well.
Perfect.
Awesome. And we encourage everybody to do just that and reach out to Jeff and let him help you, go through your systems and be sure that they're what they need to be. And then that helps you see the path clearer. And I have some additional questions, Jeff, if you don't mind us asking. Like one of the ones, does a person thinking about a franchise like this, do they need buckets of money to do this, or is this something that is available to anybody that's thinking about going that route? Yeah,
it's definitely available to anyone who's thinking of going that route, Michael. They don't need buckets of money. And in fact, if they are looking at a franchise, I've got a little bit of a piece of the blueprint that I would be glad to help them use to go through their assessment. Franchising is not for everyone, but it is important to compare and go through the same consistent steps and processes, no matter what franchise you're looking at, or if you're thinking of going to business for yourself. The same systems apply.
That's awesome. And how would they find that? Is that on your website?
It is on my website, the renaissancefranchising.com website. They can also contact us direct for a little piece of that Bevis blueprint.
That's awesome.
Jeff, thank you so much for being here with us today. And most of all, for your confidence in us and allowing us to serve you. We really appreciate you and have enjoyed this journey so much. So thank you for joining us.
Well, you're very welcome, Tanya. It's been my pleasure working with you and Michael. And again, I'll tell as many people as I can that they should be working with BrandFace as well.
We would love that.
Thank you. We'll definitely be returning the favor.
You bet.
Great. Okay.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at brandfaceguide.com.